Get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a viewer replay. This is from Brett50 and he sent in this game, which is the Jadgtiger 8.8 on Serene Coast. There are a lot of tank destroyers in this match. In fact, the majority of the tanks are tank destroyers. He actually will mention it in a second. It's 18 out of 30. I'm relying on his numbers there because you know what I'm like with counting. There's also on our team one poor sod in a KV-1S. I don't know. I mean, the enemy team has got one tier 7, this team's got one tier 6. That guy must have been absolutely cursing his luck. Just occasionally matchmaking goes, nope, screw you, and does stuff like that. So, yeah, that guy had to be a bit sour. So, the fact that there are a lot of tank destroyers kind of dictates how this match is going to play out. It's going to be... You'd think it's going to be fairly campy, and in some regards it will be fairly campy. There's also one artillery on each side, one tier 6 RT, so there's some balance in that. Also, I said there's a tier 7 on the other team. Actually, no, the SU-101 is tier 8, so it is in fact that matchmaking had a bit of a funny. There's no equivalent there, it's just this team has got one less tier 8 for no reason at all. So this one is all going to be about view range. It's going to be about hitting them before they can hit you, because there are going to be a lot of people sitting far from the action, and that's kind of what you have to do in the Jadgtiger 8.8. I mean, it's not a bad premium vehicle. It used to be one of the best credit makers at tier 8. Oh, hello IS3. Yep. I wouldn't have gone here myself, to be honest, but he clearly thought he could use that hold down position, and it's not a bad hold down position. To be fair, you can just have your superstructure showing behind that rock, but that IS-3 is hull down as well, so there's no chance of penning in with this gun, the long 88. It's not a terrible premium. I never found it fun to play, but for a while it was one of the most profitable ones you could play, if you didn't have, say, a Type 59, because you didn't have to do much damage to make a boatload of credits in this. It's, oh, there we go. Can we get a shot? No, guy pulls back just in time. It's got a good rate of fire, but it's got fairly terrible mobility. It is, however, still a Jadgtiger, even if it's got nerfed mobility compared to an elited Jadgtiger, which is not surprising. It's got it's the rate of fire that kind of makes it, and the rate of fire and the subpar mobility kind of dictate how you have to play it. You have to set yourself up somewhere like this. You have to get into a position where ideally you can be hull down, but if not, where you can be far away enough from the action where you won't get spotted. And oh, that's a nice shot. Takes the guy's tracks, and he looks like he's not going to use his repair kit, so Brett is just gonna... Third shot, there we go, and the guy repairs. In the time that he was repairing, Brett was able to get 2 more shots into him. So this is a nice feature of this thing, it's that rate of fire. And yes, it's only the 8.8, the long 88, so it's not fantastic in terms of alpha, but the rate of fire means that you can actually rack up that damage fairly quickly. And I've had matches where I've basically run out of, or been close to running out of ammo in this thing. So there we go, he nails the guy, tracks him, and that Rhymatoll finishes him off. There's a Jagdpanther over there that's just been spotted. Try and keep an eye on the minimap in this one, by the way, because we're winning quite comfortably at the moment, 8-4. And we've come down to a bunch of tank destroyers plus a T-69 on the enemy team. So there's an enemy Rhymatoll has been spotted. We know there's a 30 there, and the T-69 is on this flank as well somewhere. Yeah, you basically have to set yourself up somewhere and hope that you have a decent line of fire and that you can spot the enemy team. And you'll notice Brett is actually using a pair of binoculars. Oh, nice, he tracks the T-69. He goes back to the 30 and then he realises what he's done. And the T-69 has maybe already used his repair kit. Let's look at this. It's just punishing this guy. And someone else gets him. So there we go. And that 30, yeah, he's aiming for the kind of beveled edge, that corner edge of armour. And then he thinks, no, okay, lower front plate's a bit easier. Not sure why he doesn't try and track the 30 as well, to be honest. Because, yeah, and I don't know why he isn't firing right now. No, don't know. He was distracted by something temporarily, maybe. Oh, he was typing. If you're... I mean, the T69 was obviously a bit sour, but if you're interrupting yourself to type, that's usually not a good plan when you could be firing. Anyway, 11A. I mean, this team has taken some punishment. We've lost all our non-tank destroyers. The Rheinmetals are going to move up. They're trying to actually... They're definitely faster than this. But they don't really have much in the way of armor, so... Brett could charge out as well, but he's going to have very little chance of getting to cover before he gets spotted. And there's an enemy Rheinmetals, just blats one out of existence. Our other one, yeah, Brett doesn't have any shots on this guy. Oh, that's a big hit. He's got the big gun. And this other guy is kind of... He's not trying to get forward to cover. He's sitting and aiming, and I'm not quite sure why. Anyway, Brett still doesn't have a shot. The other Rheinmetall, that was a fatal mistake, sitting out there when you know the enemy has a shot on you. Brett's got some HE shells loaded in the hope of actually getting this guy, but no. 12-10 now. It has... We went from an advantage to... Yeah, not. And that can be the problem with very tank destroyer heavy games, is that you'll have an advantage in numbers and you'll be pressing that advantage, and then suddenly you get in range of all those tank destroyers that were sitting near the back, and blah blammo, suddenly everything evens out. On this map, it's not so terrible, but on a map where, say, Muravanka or Kamarin or Swamp, it can be quite annoying when you've got it in the bag and then just a couple of tank destroyers that have been sat at the back the whole time. And some tank destroyers, I mean, some of them it's kind of inherent to the playstyle. It's like if you're out front, then you're gonna die. You have to sit at the back. And this is... there was some discussion under the... I've largely kept out of it, but under that artillery video I put up, there was a lot of people going, well, tank destroyers, you know, blah, blah. That's always brought up. Tank destroyers can lock down a flank, it's true, and tank destroyers can have that effect on a match where this dramatic reversal can happen. We're now 13-11, but artillery can lock down a whole map, an entire map. They can change how everybody plays, not just people on one flank, but how everybody in a team plays. That's the difference in my eyes. But yes, I think there is also a problem when you have matches like this where there's a lot of tank destroyers, especially at the high tiers, because again that really changes how the map plays out. Maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing in that there's a variety of matches, but I think it does count as a bad thing when that variety of matches then changes into lots and lots of camping and lots of static matches happening. So unfortunately the ISU is down, the 30 is down. It is now Brett and an artillery versus these last two. Fortunately, neither of them is full health. And as he doesn't have lots of alpha damage, he's going to have to rely on his rate of fire instead. And because he's using binos rather than, say, optics, I mean, binos are... I would say binos are better for the Jadgtiger 8.8 because the number of times you're going to have to move around and go on the offensive are outweighed by the number of times when you have to sit and maybe even try and spot for yourself. And you get that extra view range with binoculars. But the downside is, of course, they take, what, 3-4 seconds to actually pop up and become active. So, yeah, he's relying on his crew to spot these guys without the aid of the binos. This could be tricky. This could be very, very tricky. So, yeah, tank destroyers. The point I was vaguely getting towards there is that there have been some nerfs to the top-end tank destroyers. Tank destroyers are also getting a nerf in that they will lose their camo bonus that they have at the moment, where they fire and they get demasked less than other tanks using that gun. Now he's waiting to use his he's waiting for his crew to repair that. Brett, you're on fire a bit there. Oh dear, that's not good. Bounces the Rheinmetall, fortunately. But his engine is yellow, and now I think we are glad that he kept his repair kit. Because, yeah, this could be tricky. So, they know he's here, but maybe they haven't spotted him again. The artillery's still alive. He may or may not get somebody before they get him, but worst case scenario, even, is that he actually spots at least who it is that kills him before he dies, and they're both moving up. They've decided it's going to be safer for them to get to the cap, and they know Brett's really low health, so maybe they're expecting Brett to be reticent to actually come after them. There we go, that's a nice shot, gets the ISU. If we can get him again, we can actually nail him. And another thing about this gun is it's fast firing, but it's also actually quite accurate. That one misses. I think it went a bit high because we didn't see any silhouette there. You see that very, very small amount of the tank you could see there, and he actually did manage to hit him. So it's a nice fast firing gun. And again, to the HE shells, which at this distance is a bit more of a risk, to be honest, because at this distance there's every chance it'll just hit the tracks or something instead and do like 100 damage. Now we'll actually speed this up a bit here. He will repair his engine, but even so it's just Brett driving back towards the friendly cap, and it's one-on-one at this point. 54 health. This enemy Rheinmetall, even with HE shells, is gonna surely take at least 2 to actually nail. So the Rheinmetall he's doing the sensible thing right now. He's either going to win by cap, or he's going to get Brett to come back and he's going to try and nail Brett. And if I was that Rheinmetall, I would have an HE shell loaded myself, because Brett is really low health. 54 hit points. You'd have to be particularly unlucky to hit even the superstructure with 54 hit points. We see there the ISU. He is counting his chickens a little early. Now the Rheinmetall is behind the caps, the crates, and I can't remember. This is an 810 replay. I can't remember if at that point you could shoot through soft cover. But even if you could, he would have had to change to AP shells anyway. He goes forward a bit, and oh no, he misses. But the Rheinmetall bounces, and he's got this. He's surely got this. One more hit. He can reload before the Rheinmetall. I really hope he can. Boom! Oh, there we go. Oh, with not that much time to spare, we were down to the last 3 minutes there. He actually gets that guy. That was a bit nail-biting at the end there. You remember what I said about, oh, these tanks are not well suited to going on the assault? Well, you know, sometimes you have to do it anyway. And in that case, it actually paid off. That was Brett's ace tanker. He got a Spartan for that last crucial, critical bounce, and a defender medal, because that Borsig was actually not that far off winning by cap. If we look at the team list, Brett actually did the most damage, and because he did the most damage, he doesn't have a premium account, but he still made 73,000 credits profit. So that's why this was good. If you could have an exceptional game, you could walk away with a lot of profit, even if you didn't have a premium account. Even if you did only like 1.5k damage, you'd still walk away with like 30k profit. I mean, it really was you shake it upside down and the credits would fall out. But these days it's a bit easier to make credits across the board with your tier 8 premiums. He also did 2.1k spotting and assistance damage, so again that helped towards that lovely outcome in terms of credits. And yeah, he just did really very well. He kept his head very well at the end there. And I think, considering the nature of the tank, the fact that he managed to make it do what he did, despite getting set on fire, despite losing most of his hit points, he kept his nerve and he went after them, and he secured that win for the team. There were some good players on both teams. I mean, the enemy team, it was the ISU with 5,000 damage and 5 kills. You know, when you're top tier in an ISU with the BL10. That's just trolling, frankly. And he actually did the majority of damage on his team, but there was a Rheinmetall with over 3k, Jagdpanther 2 had nearly 3k, bit of a drop-off after that. And it's maybe not surprising that the tank destroyers had by far the best damage count in this team, because there was just so many of them, and it's just the nature of tank destroyers that generally for their tier they have better guns. But if you consider that the 8.8 has got the long 88, you know, that is one of the weaker tank destroyer guns for its tier, and yet he still had the best damage on his team, so he really made that work for him, and he aimed the majority of his shots really quite well. So if you enjoyed this replay, you can leave a comment below, you can hit the like button, you can subscribe to my channel, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.